What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick. And in this video, I'll be showing you exactly how to sign your first multi-million-dollar company for your agency. Now, this brings me back to probably a couple months ago, like close to a year ago. I was operating my marketing agency in like the local space, the local realm. And I basically reached out to a company that I didn't think was as big as I thought. And I ended up landing them. It was pretty much done by accident because I didn't even have the mindset to believe in myself to pitch to a larger company. So I never really went after those types of companies. And it wasn't until I pretty much signed them until I was like, wow, I didn't realize that you guys were doing a couple $1 million in ARR. And damn, it's probably not that hard. So for those of you guys out here that are looking to sign your first multi-million-dollar company, whatever space you're in, it's not that hard as an agency owner. I pretty much compiled it into a few different pillars, looking back at how I did it the first time, pretty much by accident. First pillar I have here on the screen is viewing yourself as an infrastructure expert. So somebody that can build a proper system to actually install into the company. Looking back at some of my previous clients, I kind of viewed myself as like a freelancer. Like, yes, I have an agency. Yes, I'm doing pretty well, but I'm not quite there yet to help these larger companies. Like, I would view myself as that. And so, shifting your paradigm is huge. Like, viewing yourself as somebody who is an expert in your field, whether or not you're there or not, is very beneficial to leveling up very quickly, because you start to see yourself as better than you currently are. And then you start taking action to make yourself better than you currently are. And that belief just skyrockets with the confidence and the results that you're getting, and everything just freaking blows up. So that was the first thing I have to tell you guys. Start seeing yourself as maybe not like a, complete expert. Obviously, everybody has something to learn. But start seeing yourself as somebody who can build a profitable system and install it to a business that generates some results. And I was even leading about this a couple weeks ago too. I was kicking myself in the ass about the marketing agency and like where CMRR was at. And I was like, I should be way further along, and stuff like that. But in reality, if you're doing over 6 figures a year, you can pay your rent. You could do well. You could eat good and stuff like that. Especially, I don't have any kids. I'm single. So all of that being said, it's like, I'm living a pretty damn good life for where I'm at. So after viewing myself in the lens of like, okay, yeah, you're not making $200K a month right now, but you can't, is a huge thing as well. So just that belief system and just knowing that you can be better off where you're at is probably the biggest thing. Okay. The second thing is getting very clear on your customer profile. So for me, now that I know I can consciously go after these companies and sign them, I'm very clear on who I'm going after. So CMRR is now only going after software companies that are doing over $1 million a year in ARR. So we have like a benchmark to where, okay, if you're in the B2B space, you have a software company, you're in the custom dev space, or maybe you're a fintech, like we're only going to sign you if you're doing over $1 million a year. Why is that? Because I'm very clear on who they are. They have, an SDR teams, like a kind of a sales team, kind of like a marketing team. They might have one, they might not. But the clearest ICP I can give you is, a custom dev software company. So a software that customizes different solutions for businesses and knows how to code and build software. And they have a good dev team, but they're really lacking on the marketing side. So they can fulfill for tons of projects. They can sign a bunch of businesses and build them, custom CRMs and custom software all day and all night. But they don't have enough bookings, they don't have enough projects to be able to do so. So they have tons of bandwidth on the back end, and guess what? They just need a partner on the front end to just blow everything up, right? So that's the ICP. I'm very clear on who it is. When I hop on Zoom calls, I know right away if they're a good ICP. How big is your dev team? How much project can you guys fulfill on? Like how much can you guys take on? And by those questions, I'm very clear on who I'm going after. And that's what separates me from other marketing agencies. Even other marketing agencies that are signing companies that are around the same size, they still have a disadvantage because they're not as clear on the industry. Some of them are like, well, we can go after software, we can go after larger HVAC businesses. We can go after other lead gen agencies and help partner up with them, but they're not really clear on who and why. And I think that's what separates us the most. So obviously, if you own an agency or some sort of an online business that provides service to other businesses, it's in your best interest to not only nail the mindset and see yourself as an expert in the field, but it's even more important to get very clear on who you are going after and why do they need your service? What solution are you bringing to them? And the faster you can determine that, the faster you'll be able to sign these larger companies. Okay. Now, the third thing is the outreach engine. So yes, you have the mindset now. Yes, you understand that you have to actually build a profitable system and you know you want to go after. If you're going after, for instance, I go after CEOs, I go after the founders. Sometimes you could go after, if you have a, fintech solution, you go after the CFOs, so financial officers and stuff like that, right? So getting very clear on that. The third pillar is how the hell do you even get in front of them? And so this takes me back to when I was first kind of outreaching, doing some prospecting on LinkedIn. I thought it was completely dead. I was like, no one is going to be on LinkedIn. Like, I'm wasting my time learning how to outreach on LinkedIn. These people are like 3 times my age. This is not going to work out. I had so many limiting assumptions and beliefs when I had only been trying it for a couple of weeks. And so what I ended up doing was I purchased a course on LinkedIn outreach from somebody who was like 45 years old. Okay. And so I thought to myself, if I can kind of get in their head almost, understand how they view the platform, maybe I can sort of, find something as a marketer as an upper hand and start using that in the marketplace. And so the outreach engine I ended up using was HeyReach. I still use that to this day, and Instantly for cold email. And now I have learned to pair those two softwares together. So prospects will get a cold email and they'll get a LinkedIn message. And that is honestly the most important thing I've ever learned in probably my entire life, pairing up outreach. And so they get a very value-packed email and they get a very value-packed LinkedIn message. Those two together, they get 2 touch points from 2 different platforms along with follow-ups. And it's just icing on the cake and it books a ton of calls. Now, I stumbled kind of upon that outreach method by just reverse engineering what has worked for me. So I asked myself, okay, I've hopped on the phone with probably hundreds of online business owners. Okay. And I've been pitched multiple times, probably in the hundreds of times. What worked well for me to get me on the phone? Because I'm just not going to receive a cold email. I don't know about you, but I'm not just going to receive a cold email from like John at 50marketing.com and be like, holy crap, I want this guy's marketing services. I'm not the type of buyer like that. The buyers you want are sophisticated buyers. They're buyers that are not easily convinced, but warmed up and can continue to be warmed up in the buying process so that when they do buy from you, they are willing to pay full price instead of just automatically wanting to buy for a lower rate, and you just end up with a bunch of different issues. So I retraced my steps and I said, okay, what got me on the phone was message from LinkedIn, cold email, a good amount of follow-ups, and personalization. And when you see effort in marketing agencies, when they hit you on email and they hit you on LinkedIn, and then maybe another platform, or they text you here, or they text you there, and you get on their newsletter, then you're receiving emails from them. That process is so vital towards get on the phone call. And then, next thing you know, I'm talking to a senior account executive at like a company that's doing $250 million a year in the software space, like Fortune 1000 company, right? And it's those little things to where you kind of start to realize like, okay, this is working, right? Like this is working. My goal is to have, 50 to 100 of these companies, right? Working with CMRR. That's my goal. But the key points that I want you to understand is mindset, which we went over, clarity on who you're going after. So understand who you're going after, why you're going after them, why they should respond to you. And the third thing is how to get in front of them. I just explained to you LinkedIn and cold email. Okay. Use a tool like HeyReach. It's a LinkedIn automation platform. People, they use HeyReach for the 14-day free trial. They say it doesn't work. People complain. They don't have the right guidance. So that's why I'm very hesitant to say the softwares that I use, because anyone can come back to this video and be like, Patrick, it doesn't work. That's true. But at the same time, Meta ads, Facebook ads are available to any human that walks this earth. But what the hell separates the person that puts $5,000 into paid ads and gets no return, and then the expert level marketer that puts $5,000 into paid ads and gets a 10x ROAS? What's the difference? Is it Meta ads? Is Meta ads being biased and saying they like the marketer better? Well, yes, but the difference is they have so much more knowledge than the fucking noob. The newbie has no knowledge. And so it comes down to, one, you have to admit that you're in a place where you just don't know what you're doing. And two, you have to have the courage and pretty much less ego to pretty much say, hey, I need help with this, and seek out information. That's what I did when I desperately needed to know what to do to get leads and book out calls. That's what I did. I reached out to somebody that knew it a lot better than I did. And then I learned from somebody who was miles ahead of me, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Last thing I will touch on here is offer positioning. Whenever you do get on a phone call or a Zoom call with these multi-million-dollar companies, what ends up happening is they will almost test your level of patience and like where you stand. Like some of these companies, they want premium services. It's different than any other like B2C offer or like even lower level B2B. These companies expect to spend thousands of dollars before seeing any ROI. They expect to drop $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 on your marketing agency before they see any ROI, or at least, a clear path towards ROI, because they're okay with using that money. It's a mindset, it's a huge mindset shift. They don't see it, especially these CFOs, these companies, and these accounting executives and these sales managers and things like that. They don't see it as a loss. They don't see it as like, oh, let's test you out for 3 months. They see it as like an investment towards the future. They look for longer contracts. They're in a much better headspace than, your local roofer that needs leads desperately to feed its family, right? All right, you guys, that's pretty much the entire breakdown as to how I would go about assigning those larger companies. Obviously, if you guys have any questions, please leave them down, 1, in the comments below, or 2, just personally DM me on Instagram. Links obviously in the description or in the comment section. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.